What's up, YouTube? This is a video about the pharmaceutical industry, medical industry brainwash that a lot of people are under. The spell of the witch doctors that are parading around as rich doctors.
Psychiatrists are the scum of the earth. People need to drill it in their heads that doctors do not want to help you. They are there to increase your burden and complicate your problems and make matters worse. And people need to drill that into their head. Most of the doctors are actually Satanists in some sort of Masonic order. Although that may be a hard truth to accept, I've witnessed it myself. I've been through the mental health system, and I can tell you that all pharmaceutical practice is indeed a fraud. Specifically, mental health is one of the biggest ones, but entirely the whole thing is a fraud. All sickness is caused by the archons, the genies, the Morgellons, the demons, the flyers, whatever you want to call them, the shards. It's basically these little electromagnetic interferences that latch on through our bloodstream into our central nervous system and create problems within ourselves.
The medical industry as a whole, Ponzi scheme, and it's to keep you sick and it's to keep you contained while you're on this human farm. And the doctors are not to be trusted, and everyone's giving complete trust and refuge in these doctors that are there solely to keep you sick, contained, and giving them money. Work for years of their lives to get medical insurance, and they won't even, consider leaving their job because they won't have medical insurance. When a lot of the medicines are there in the earth and within yourself, and God gives you what you need. And in the Quran, many times it tells you to not seek refuge in anything or anyone other than God. And those who seek refuge in man from the jinn increased in their burdens and hardship. And modern day witch doctors who use pharmaceuticals, which means black magic, to control and to manipulate the population and keep us sick.
Because they lack a physical form, so they need to take the form of a human entity by using them as a host for their parasitic attachment to that human's electromagnetic energy, and they try to channel the bad energy, and it's these electromagnetic interferences that cause all disease, not what the doctors will have you believe. Through the mental health system, you'll see that they're using a chemical warfare on you. They're trying to manipulate your hormones. They want the guys to have low testosterone, and they want the girls to have high progesterone. So the girls are really upset, moody, and bitchy, and sexually frustrated, and the guys cannot reach their full potential as men. And the government not only does this in the mental health system, but they do it in everything, in all things. The weaponized food, the brainwash that they put on us, and people who turn to doctors for help are truly ignorant. They could mainly just look up any problem they have on the internet and self-medicate.
Stupid, autistic, labeled with diseases, thinking that we're infested with something other than parasitic, unseen realm entities.
That's not out of the question. Even before the internet, there was many books that anyone could read and just self-medicate. The doctors will do nothing but increase you in burden and problems, and they are really some of the worst, most vile people of them all. I cannot express enough my hatred for the pharmaceutical system and for doctors, although I know that God is most forgiving, and I try to forgive them, because most of them are just brainwashed individuals. They take the Hippocratic Oath, not for nothing, but the etymology of the word Hippocratic is from Hippocrates, who was
Definitely involving themselves in a minor form of idolatry and witchcraft. And the doctors will say the stupidest things to people. I hear all the time, oh, I brought my 2-year-old kid to the doctor to get melatonin. because they're not sleeping at night. They're not sleeping at night because you give them soda with caffeine all day, and you feed them juicy juice and processed foods with crazy sugar and crazy estrogen and crazy chemicals, and you're poisoning your children ignorantly, and you're up all night with your kid yacked up on caffeine, and you're giving them melatonin when they're little babies because the doctor said, what are you feeding your kid? Oh, you're giving them real soda all day and they're a baby? Well, if you stop doing that, they'll probably be able to go to sleep. No, they prescribe them adult level melatonin that they'll be reliant on, and they'll end up staying up even later. And the doctors always have the most ignorant conclusions and these false diseases that were made by Freemasons and witches. And they poison our food, they poison our water, they poison our air, they poison everything, because eventually when we die, we're going to be feasts for the Gog rulers, the Gog and Magog rulers. And they want us on all these medications because when they eat us, they're going to get higher. And they want us on all these crazy drugs, and the antipsychotics actually make you crazy. They designed you and programmed diseases into you. You take an inhaler for your asthma. I don't have asthma, and I've tried inhalers because they actually have steroids in them and they can make you pretty jacked. But you'll feel like you have asthma while you're taking it. Like, these medications, they have diseases programmed into them. Like, you're probably not mentally ill, but you definitely will look like it if you're taking meds and coming off Abilify or Zyprexa. You got a light? And, if you just didn't follow what these rich doctors are telling you, you'll come to conclusions that you'll get through the hardship and the pain through holistic medicine, getting the medicines from your own reasoning, your own journey, your own research. Take black seed oil, there's ginseng, there's ginger. Take garlic, you can make hot soup. There's so many options you could take instead of instantly running to these doctors who are so satanic. Like, the doctor's office in itself is so satanic. And it's crazy how so many people don't see it. Even people who claim to be awakened, I notice a lot of the time they still trust doctors. They still go to doctors, get second opinions. And I think everyone should just stop trusting these evil, manipulative liars who don't even believe in God. They're honestly, a lot of them are atheists and they're Satanists. And if you're going to put your body and trust in a Satanist atheist, you're not trusting in God. You're not following your faith and your duty in your, in your heart and in your soul. You're adding problems onto more problems, and you're creating extra problems in the long run, and it's keeping you in a system where you're stuck spinning in a negative path. And cancer, you can, every time I talk about this, God protect me, the unseen demons don't like for people to know this kind of information because it's a huge systematic regime. So God protect me from the evils of mischievousness of created things. And God willing. And it's just honestly a prevalent agenda brainwash that you could see everywhere. There's a hospital and a cemetery in every town, everywhere you go. And when you die, your birth certificate's given to the Vatican and cashed out for $10,000. This system wants you sick and suffering and spiraling on a downward path with ignorance and transgression. And the doctors don't have your back. You got something to say?